You thought Frozen was just about singing snowmen, sparkly gowns, and a sisterly duet that could melt a whole kingdom's heart? Cute. But under all that glitter, Frozen is secretly teaching kids one of the most toxic life lessons Disney has ever slipped past us. Because here's the real question. Is this movie about sisterly love, or about how trauma gets dressed up as empowerment? Stick around, because by the end of this, you'll never hear Let It Go the same way again. And hey, if Elsa can build an ice castle in 5 minutes, you can smash that like button in a second. Let's break down Elsa. On the outside, she's the queen of icy glam. Snowflakes on command, gowns that slay harder than the Met Gala. But underneath all that sparkle, Elsa is the ultimate poster child for emotional repression. From the start, her parents don't guide her, don't teach her, don't help her. Instead, they hit her with the mantra, conceal, don't feel. Sounds poetic, but let's be real. That's not parenting. That's trauma gift wrapped with royal ribbons. And here's the twisted part. The movie frames it as protection. We're keeping you safe, Elsa. We're keeping everyone else safe too. Translation? If you ever show your true self, you'll ruin the people you love. That's not protection. That's emotional blackmail disguised as wisdom. So what happens? Elsa grows up terrified of her own identity. She hides, isolates, and believes her existence is dangerous. Disney later tries to flip this into empowerment, but the root message is toxic. Suppress your true self, or you'll destroy everything. And that's just the beginning. Because if Elsa is repression in a tiara, Anna is a desperation in a ball gown. Stick around, because her story is where things get even darker. And then we've got Anna. Sweet, bubbly, quirky Anna. The walking ball of sunshine who's also the queen of desperation. And honestly, can you blame her? She's been emotionally abandoned her entire life. Elsa shuts her out, their parents die, and what's left? A girl who grows up absolutely starving for affection. So when Hans shows up, smiling like a Pinterest board of dream prints, Anna falls head first.
My mind is a blank
2
slate
conversations
right now.
Barely enough time for 2 TikToks, and she's ready to marry him. Disney plays it off as a silly gag, like, haha, silly girl falling too fast. But let's be real. That's not comedy, that's a trauma response. Her whole personality is built around chasing the love she never got as a kid. Every joke, every awkward line, every wide-eyed moment is rooted in neglect. And instead of treating that with any seriousness, Disney spins it as quirky, adorable desperation. Here's the kicker. Kids watching this don't see the trauma. They see the, aw, she's funny and relatable. The hidden lesson? Desperation is cute. Starvation for love is normal. And if Anna represents desperate attachment, wait until you see what Disney does with Hans. Spoiler, the real villain isn't who you think. Stick around, this gets darker. Now let's talk Hans. Disney sells him as the smooth-talking dream prince, then flips the script and bam, he's the villain. And sure, Hans is manipulative, calculated, and colder than Elsa's ice palace. But here's the real twist. He's not the true villain of Frozen. The real culprits? Elsa and Anna's parents. Think about it. They raise Elsa in complete isolation, feeding her the toxic mantra, conceal, don't feel. They emotionally abandon Anna, shutting her out of her sister's life. And then, they literally die on a boat, leaving their daughters to clean up the emotional wreckage. Hans might be a snake, but Mom and Dad lit the firework factory and walked away. Disney uses Hans as a distraction, a flashy plot twist villain that makes the audience gasp. But in reality, Hans is just a convenient scapegoat to cover up the real darkness. Generational trauma, packaged with a Disney bow. And here's the scary part. By framing Hans as the true bad guy, the movie conditions kids to ignore the deeper issue. Sometimes the people who claim to love you the most are the ones who damage you the hardest. But trust me, that's not even the worst message in the story. Because up next, we need to talk about the toxic little myth.
Love fixes everything.
Here's where Frozen really sprinkles in the sugar-coated poison. The climax. The big reveal is that only an act of true love can thaw a frozen heart. Sweet? Sure, but also toxic in the sneakiest way possible. Because look at what actually happens. Elsa never learns to handle her powers. She doesn't go through growth, healing, or even the bare minimum of emotional work. Instead, the movie hands her a shortcut. Anna sacrifices herself, and poof, trauma solved. Elsa doesn't change, doesn't do the work, she just gets saved. That's not empowerment, that's emotional outsourcing. The hidden lesson? You don't need to face your issues, just wait for someone else's love to magically fix everything. That's the kind of conditioning that makes kids think healing comes from the outside, not from within. And Disney frames this like it's the ultimate moral of the story. Love conquers all. Trauma evaporates, snow melts, roll credits. But let's be honest, this isn't healing. This is dependency in disguise. And if that feels a little bleak, buckle up. Because next, we're heading into the icy finale where Elsa finally belts out "Let It Go." But once you strip away the glitter, that anthem is one of the biggest lies Disney ever sold. Stick around. So let's talk consequences, or in Elsa's case, the total lack of them. Throughout Frozen, Elsa plunges an entire kingdom into eternal winter. Crops die, families freeze, people are literally on the edge of starvation. And on top of that, she nearly kills Anna. Twice. But what happens at the end? Nothing. No apology tour, no accountability, no "hey, sorry for the famine." Instead, the kingdom cheers like Elsa just nailed a flawless dance trend on TikTok. The snow melts, everyone claps, and she gets crowned as the hero. This is where the toxic lesson hits hardest. If you're special enough, people will overlook the chaos you cause. It's plot armor disguised as forgiveness. Disney sells it as redemption, but in reality, it's entitlement. Elsa isn't held accountable. She's celebrated for the very thing that endangered everyone. And here's the real danger. Kids watching don't see the cost. They don't see the kingdom starving. They just see sparkly snow magic and a happy ending. But that's not even the peak of the problem. Because the moment Disney wraps it all up in glitter is the scene, the anthem, the so-called empowerment song, "Let It Go." And once we break that down, the entire illusion shatters. Stick with me. Now we arrive at the scene, the one that launched 1 billion YouTube covers, endless TikToks, and made parents everywhere beg their kids to please stop singing that song. Yep, Let It Go, the anthem of empowerment. Or at least that's what Disney wants you to believe. Let's look closer. Elsa sings about freedom, but what is she actually doing? She's not facing her problems. She's running away from them. She isolates herself, building an ice castle as a fortress, building walls higher than her self-esteem. She's not letting it go. She's burying it deeper. That's not liberation. That's avoidance dressed in sequins. And the wild part? Disney packages this as empowerment. Kids belt it out like it's a confidence booster, when in reality, the lyrics are glorifying emotional shutdown. Elsa isn't practicing self-love. She's committing to self-exile, convincing herself that loneliness equals strength. The scene feels epic, sure. The visuals slap, the vocals soar, but underneath the glitter is one of the darkest sleights of hand Disney has ever pulled. They condition us to clap for repression, to mistake isolation for freedom. It's glitter-covered gaslighting, plain and simple. So if Let It Go is the icy lie, what does that make Frozen as a whole? That's exactly what we need to unpack in the conclusion, where the fairy tale finally melts into its darkest truth. Stick around, because this ending is colder than Elsa's love life. So here it is, the icy truth beneath Disney's sparkly fairy tale. Frozen parades as a story about sisterhood, empowerment, and love conquering all. But underneath the snowflakes, it's really about repression, desperation, and trauma disguised as destiny. Elsa? She doesn't heal. She hides, runs, and gets rewarded anyway. Anna? She normalizes desperation and calls it love. The parents? They set the trauma bomb, then escape responsibility with a shipwreck exit. And the kingdom? They suffer through famine and freezing, only to cheer like nothing happened. The toxic core of Frozen is this. Suppress your true self, let your trauma run the show, and hope someone else's love will fix the damage. Disney wants us to believe this is empowerment, but really, it's just emotional conditioning in a ball gown. And the scariest part? Millions of kids grew up singing "Let It Go" like it was gospel, not realizing they were chanting an anthem of avoidance. That's not liberation, that's repression with a killer soundtrack. So, what do you think? Is Frozen a heartwarming love story? Or a frosty masterclass in toxic lessons? Drop your thoughts below. Are you Team Love or Team Stockholm Syndrome? Let's debate. And if this breakdown melted your brain faster than Olaf in summer, hit like, smash subscribe, and I'll keep serving you the dark truths Disney doesn't want you to see.